Hello, it's Trader Chat. After the Derby trials, ahead of a Derby trial in the shape of the Dante, we've a hot favourite for the Derby now, and we've a second favourite who's trained by Aidan O'Brien as well in the shape of High Definition. We've a lot to get through on the show today with Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward. Flynn, fresh from a little bit of a hangover on Monday. And we're not going to lie, that's why we had to delay today's show, because Flynn, it was just too good. You could finally go for a beer outdoors with your missus on a Sunday. It was like old times, and you took advantage of it.
Can I just say my hangover was not in the running order, so Johnny just completely stitched me up there. It was the first time I've actually been comfortable with sitting outside on Sunday, and I had the day off, and me and my girlfriend just went to a few bars along the Steve Run in Brighton, and just got a little bit carried away. And then yesterday was really tough, and you didn't want to see me in front of a camera, let alone I didn't want to be in front of one. So we moved it to today, but the day before the Dancing Festival starts, it's probably worked out for the better anyway, I'd say.
Indeed. I can't count how many times I've gone to work on a Monday with a hangover, particularly at your age. But you always get through it, and you always swear, obviously, that you never drink again as well on the day. But will you ever bet again if you're on Bolshoi Ballet at long prices for the Derby? He has been unbelievably impressive, and he's gone the old route of some of Aidan's trialists with the Ballysacks and the Derrinstown, and he demolished his stablemate on Sunday, which all means now, if you look at the Derby betting, he's gone into 7-4. Have you laid him at any sort of prices? I know he kind of shortened dramatically after the Ballysacks anyway, and then there was that doubt about High Definition where he was going to run. He runs the Dante on Thursday, and he's 92 second favourite with Star Sports for the Derby, despite the fact that we haven't seen him since his 2-year-old campaign.
Yeah, well, in terms of Bolshoi Ballet, he was still like the 10-1 mark, wasn't he, after he actually won the Ballysacks, like you said. So he was still a bit of a price. Obviously, we've had this cloud over High Definition for quite a while now, whether he's going to run and whether with the bloods, etc. So, and even when he does run, is he going to be as good as he was last year? Is he going to be as well kind of touted? He's got a funny old running style, isn't he? High Definition. He does. He's obviously got a very big price in running. I saw a lot of people talking about that in the last week. So you're taking a lot of chance if you're back in High Definition for the Derby, and that's obviously reflected in the price, but not too much of the price. He's not a massive price. He's only just been nudged out. We're obviously going to find out a lot more this week when he obviously potentially runs to the Dante. We obviously think he's going to go there and would be second favourite or favourite for that race. I can't remember off the top of my head. In terms of Bolshoi Ballet, obviously went favourite for the Derby after his complete demolition job at the weekend in the Derrinstown Derby Trial. The way he kind of quickened off the turn to electric, I thought, and he's definitely the one to beat in the Derby. For the race at the weekend, we actually laid it big at 6-5, so it was a terrible result for us, and it kind of defined our weekend on the racing front. It really knocked us back. We had a huge bet at 6-5, and like I say, it's now 7-4 for the Derby. I think that's probably the best trial yet. I know we're going to see a lot more this week, but that is how the Derby is shaping up. Yeah, we haven't taken a huge amount for the Derby as of yet. I'm sure that we will come the day. But yeah, I reckon that was probably the most impressive Derby trial that we have had today. But I guess we can get us to talk about the Lingfield ones, but they were won by outsiders, weren't they?
Yeah. And also, Aidan's kind of getting a little bit of a feel for the strength of the British opposition as well. And I think they probably know at this stage. I actually have a suspicion High Definition might want a Ledger Trip the way he ran as a 2-year-old. It took him so long to get going in those mile races at the Curragh, albeit he was very strong to finish. But the Dante is going to be fascinating, because if he does win that impressively, all bets are off in a way.
It will indeed. And one horse to talk about for the Dante is actually Gear Up. We saw some money earlier on this week, so yesterday and actually Sunday, for Gear Up for the Derby. I think if you go back through Gear Up's form, I think Gear Up actually beat Bolshoi Ballet back in France.
That was on heavy ground, which was kind of, in fairness to Bolshoi Ballet, I don't think he showed his form that day back in Saint-Cloud. Yeah,
potentially, but people are obviously clocking onto the fact that Bolshoi Ballet is now 7-4 and Gear Up was a 40 poke. I think there's still a bit 30 freeze out there with 28, so we've dodged it after we saw the money at 40s, and they were still backing it at 33 from some shrewd people as well. So that angle's obviously been spotted with Bolshoi Ballet there. And I think Gear Up's around the 92 mark for the Dante, and High Definition slightly shorter coming up for the week. So that's just one to know there in terms of what we have laid for the Derby, and a really small mover. When we were looking at the Lingfield Derby trials, this round won the Derby trial over at Lingfield. Favourite Adea came second. Obviously, High Definition wasn't entered due to the issue with his bloods. We had a pretty lopsided book in the race. We laid Kyprios. He was a huge loser in the book for us. We laid a big each way at 7-2, which was a good each way bet to lay. When you look at the amount of runners, we have 6 runners. We laid obviously a quarter 2 places, so there was no place edge for the punter, and it was a good bet to lay for us. You can't argue with it whatsoever. not just the fact that it finished completely out of boxes, but in terms of the actual bet and the price that was laid, we were very happy with that. In terms of the Oaks Trial, Sherbet Lemon won the Oaks Trial 28-1, so huge prices winning the Oaks Trials. It's kind of getting away from the favourite index recently, because the favourite index has been running at such a high percentage. I'm sure a lot of the makers across the land and us have definitely been feeling it on the racing front in the last couple of months. The first few months of the year have been fantastic, and then the last couple of months have just been really, really tough. That favourite index percentage running really high, and then obviously these big races on Saturday kind of went the other way. So 28-1 short winning the Oaks Trial. Lovely Dream was by far the most popular with punters going off the 100 to 30 favourite. Technique was also nibbled that, but the winner was a fantastic result of the book, and it was 2-0 Star in terms of the Linkfield trials anyway. One more race to touch on from Linkfield would be the Chartwell Fillies Group 3 Stakes. Isabella Giles was an absolute smash-up job, as Matt Chapman would say on ITV. Went into 7-4 from 9-4 at the off. The winner, Alexander, was a decent result for us there. One race to touch on from Ascot, obviously we had the Victoria Cup that was won by River Nymph. Pretty level result, even though it was a really big price going in. He was a level result in the book for us. Acquitted was one of the big losers there. I think it was around the 11-2 mark. Acquitted was the one that the punters wanted to be with. And the old favourite Escobar was pretty popular. He always tends to be popular because of his name. He's obviously named after Pablo Escobar. The reason he was named it is because he's got a really wide front of the nose. So a little interesting fact about Escobar there. He's always popular with the punters. And then the one from Haydock, we had the Swinton at the weekend. Coppolis was a really poor result in the book for us. Absolutely dotted at the end. So any punters that bet Coppolis, they certainly weren't Coppolis after the race anyway, winning by 8 lengths. So that's just a quick run through the weekend racing.
What did you make of the Sam Curling train gamble on Saturday?
We did see money for both of the gambles. So there was that one. Was it Call It Freddie or Call Me Freddie or something like that?
Yeah. I think it's Call Me Freddie. Yeah,
Call Me Freddie. So we did see money for it, and then it bounced out ever so slightly, but it didn't bounce out massive. I think it jumped to about 6.8 on Betfair. And then there was another one, which I think is an even more impressive gamble. I haven't actually written down here about it, but just top of my head, it was running off a mark of
37.
37, yeah. £38 out of the handicap. Unbelievable. It was 100-1 overnight. We saw a little bit of money, not big money, but little bits of money for it at the 50-1, 40-1. And then there was still like, and then people were kind of cottoning on, and people around the industry were obviously seeing this bet at those prices. Then they were following it. But we started to see that about 20-1. As soon as we saw it at 20, it was like, right, well, that's a great mark now. That again bounced a little bit for the off. I think it jumped to about 12 on Betfair. But that just, I mean, it absolutely pulverised them. Jumped fantastically well. Had point form in the book, but
got a £52 rise.
Unbelievable. I've never seen a runner win off the 30s, especially £38 out of handicap. But there were two big gambles there. It seems like with these gambles, they tend to plan them now at race meetings where there's other big meetings going on. So
I love
big
it.
Saturdays or
love it.
Just
it's part of the game. You gotta. It's like kind of trying to plan a win during the Cheltenham Festival at wherever, at like Wolverhampton or wherever else it's on. Just you have this notion of like going up to the betting shop in Cheltenham, and obviously they're just swarmed, and you just throw something on the off, and it's on like some race in Stratford or something.
I see both sides of it though, because I see the punter wants to land a touch, fair play to them. I also understand the punter who's done the form, and this course obviously got no form. But I guess with the one that's rated 35, you can say, he was a point winner in 3 miles. So
he never run over fences before. He was stepping up and trip. In fairness with that horse, like they gave him a mark that was based on very, very flimsy maiden form over hurdles, over shorter. Yeah. So like it's not that big of a deal to me. The Sam Curling one, I've more of an issue with, not so much the gamble, but just the fact that the trainer didn't seem to know anything about the race afterwards, which just seems bizarre. I mean, obviously Rachel Blackmore was a jockey change, but you're not going to have a horse back from 33s into 5-2 because of a jockey change, I would have thought.
Oh, no way whatsoever. There was definitely a lot of war money behind it, and then that's what's obviously moved the price when the firms see that these certain people are getting on, or at a specific kind of early time. I do see both sides of it, but what Ben Keeper say is these trainers who land these touches, all the owners, they don't win derbies as kind of a rule of thumb, and that's what Ben will always say about these kind of gambles. He sees both sides.
Also, you're kind of slightly a marked man or woman when this happens, in the sense of that the handicapper like isn't stupid as well, and whether you like it or not, the handicapper does kind of handicap trainers as much as he sometimes will handicap a horse. He definitely will treat some trainers differently. So something like that. I mean, the handicapper has looked into it. Just on an aside as well, you mentioned the results over the last while. Where are we going to be with the show price if and when bookmakers are back at the track, because punters are doing quite well with the show price at the moment. They're getting a lot of big price horses winning and coming into the place, tighter over rounds and so forth. It's like an automated system kind of that's run by the big firms. Now it could be, let's be careful what we wish for here, because this may not be the case going forward forever. Maybe over rounds will increase, but it's just worrying for the bookmakers at the moment who used to be at the track and return the SPs, which is one of the parts of their role that actually still exists. Where do we go from here?
I think that obviously for punters, you would rather them be settled off course if they are getting a better run of the deal. I think for on-course bookmakers, obviously they will want to return the SP, because that's when they actually serve a function. They need to be there to do that. You need at least 3 in the samples. Obviously, return the SP. Same for dog racing. Obviously, dog tracks pay bookmakers to actually stand in the tracks to return an SP. So they will want that to come back to the on-course kind of fraternity, so that it can still be a viable business. Obviously, we would want that as well, because we stand on course and we have a good relationship with other bookmakers on course, etc. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'm not going to throw my opinion in there, because it's probably just going to. I don't have any kind of facts to back it up, so I don't know what's going to happen. To be honest, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference if it is returned by the on-course, but there's somewhere in between. Seems the right call. I think it should be probably done by the people who are on course. I like it to serve a function for the on course. I like them to have that piece of ownership, including us when we are there, rather than it just be centralised, sorted out somewhere else. But maybe somewhere in the middle would be the right call.
Yeah, that is possibly what will happen as well. It's just kind of hard to call at the moment, and we're not all that much closer to getting bookmakers back on track in Ireland, because we still don't even have owners on track in Ireland, and who knows when we'll have race goers. Maybe June or July, hopefully June or July, and I've sympathy for owners who've been basically locked out for a year at this stage. Obviously we've Newmarket on Saturday. We've a busy week with the Dante being the centre stage. How was football at the weekend? Obviously Man City, Chelsea. I spoke to Adam Russell. Wasn't a major surprise Chelsea won, with this being a bit of a shadow boxing match, but how was the weekend in general? Liverpool getting the job done, as did Man United.
Yeah, so in terms of football, I've actually got a few, so just talking about the Premier League, I've got a few kind of settlement markets from like the outrights. Obviously, we get to the culmination of a lot of the leagues and stuff like that. So Cheltenham winning League 2 was a terrible result for us. So that was settled last week. We laid a lot of 16-1 pre-season there. So not talking about Cheltenham on the racing, but
Cheltenham was a bad result.
Yeah, I know. I'm very used to saying that, trust me. Hull winning League 1 was a great result for us. We saw all the money for Sunderland before the season. So Hull getting the job done there, the Hull Tigers, was a great result. In the Championship handicap markets, obviously we price up these handicap markets before the season starts, where we have a team off scratch and then we give a certain amount of points to the other team. So to try and make it a level playing field. Norwich were off scratch. And Barnsley were illusory, but they won quite comfortably in the end. All runners were 16-1 in the field, and we gave Barnsley 29 points. And they obviously didn't need that many because they went and got the job done in that market. And then just one result I want to talk about from the Premier League fixtures was actually last night, Burnley-Fulham. We had Burnley pretty heavily on the Asian handicap last night, which was really frustrating. So we laid Burnley plus a quarter. So it was a pretty tough week all round in terms of racing football. Obviously, Bolshoi Ballet on the racing front, and then the bet yesterday on the Asian handicaps kind of knocked us to 6 a little bit. So we are struggling a bit at the moment. Hopefully we'll start to bring it back with the favourite index. Hopefully that turns a little bit in our favour. And we obviously got a fantastic lead this week with the Dante, etc. So we can turn it around. And just one more thing in terms of football, the new Spurs managed market, we've actually got a new favourite for that market. So Simone Inzaghi, the brother of Filippo Inzaghi, is the manager of Lazio at the moment. He's the new front runner for the job at Spurs, now 2-1, and we are 11-2 bar there. Brendan Rodgers is 11-2. So just a few bits there from football, including the new Spurs managers market, and we've kind of got plenty coming up, and we'll start getting the kind of specialist markets for the Euro sorted in the coming weeks as well.
Interesting times ahead. Anything on the Star Sports Greyhound Derby, which is going to happen very shortly. 16's the field with Knockabout Sid new in session. 16's each of 2.
Yeah, so as we get closer to the Greyhound Derby, which starts at the start of June, I think that he's starting the same date as the Oaks and Epsom Derby, which I don't think we're going to be standing at, which is unfortunate. But that starts at the start of June. What I do know about the Greyhound Derby is I'm starting preparation for finals night. We're going to have quite a few pictures there for finals night. Hopefully by that stage.
Invitation for JW? Meet the lads for the first time.
Yeah, sure. Look, come over. Definitely come over. You can have a picture me if you want, Johnny, or just
that'd be amazing. We'd absolutely do our brains. Like we'd probably just really aggressively take on a couple of early favourites. Both would win, and then it would just be this hole that we dig further and further and further into. But we'd have a good night.
We'd bring plenty of punters in, though, wouldn't we, Johnny?
We would. Get out of the way, Ben. I'm looking after this. Yeah.
Oh, what for? So we will all be there on July 10th, and actually just heard from Johnny Wood himself. He'll be there as well. So we are starting preparations for that. Obviously, betting's all on site. We've got specials up. Will it be an Irish train winner or British train winner? I believe Ireland's pretty short. Top of my head, I think 4-7 might be shorter now. We had a bit 4-7 Ireland. So we've got all the kind of markers up for the Greyhound Derby. Did you want to talk boxing quickly? Because we had Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders at the weekend. Obviously, fantastic fight in front of 70,000 people over in Dallas, Texas. So big old fan base out to see Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. The kind of Mexican fraternity are huge over there. We laid Canelo to win by TKO, KO, or DQ pretty heavily. A really poor result. It was nearly a 6-figure loser in the book, actually. Just the method of victory market. That obviously copped, so that added to the kind of the poor week that we had there. We've also priced up Canelo versus Eubank. So Eubank was that £10,000 bet on Canelo's getting the job done against Billy Joe Saunders, obviously kind of mocking Billy Joe Saunders, and he called him out after the fight. I'm not sure whether he's going to fight next. Don't think he probably will. I think it'll be later down the line, but we have priced that up. Canelo at 1-7, the draw 22-1, and then Eubank is in there at 9-2. So kind of similar prices to the Billy Joe Saunders fight. Billy Joe was around the 9-2 mark as well. So just some boxing prices there. And we've still got a couple of bits to talk about, Johnny.
We do. The golf and obviously the elections as well, which we discussed with Paul Krishnamurti, Neil Channing and William Kajani yesterday on what was a fascinating polling station. We just couldn't shut the lads up. We only had half an hour. I wanted about half a day. How did the politics go, and how did the local elections, the by-election, obviously Scottish election and the Welsh elections, how did they go for the firm?
Yeah, so we did our money on the no SNP majority. Nicholas Sturgeon was saying it was always going to be a long shot for there to be a majority.
A solitary vote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We laid 1-3 there, so we did our money there. We had buzzword bingo out there last night for the Boris speech. So if you are watching speeches and you want to light it up a little bit, you can bet buzzword bingo with us. If you said the word in the statement, then you will cop. The ones that copped last night, social distancing, cautious, and face coverings. Those were just a few that copped. So keep an eye out for these when we do have the speeches. And then we actually copped a bit on the London Mayor election. We laid Sean Bailey at 25 and 12, so he obviously came a close second. I was told it was a little bit tighter than what they expected. But I actually went home to my girlfriend last night, and she was saying, "Oh, it's going to be it's going to be really close. Don't know what way it is to go." And then I checked Betfair, and it was 101. And she didn't understand what 101 actually meant, but apparently it was close.
How are you going out with her?
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Not great, actually.
First of all, you start the sentence with, I actually went home to my girlfriend last night, which in itself was pretty bogey.
Stop getting into... Right, move on.
Bear in mind, you're deeply hungover as she sat through, like, sipping some sort of non-alcoholic drink and watch you get drunk on the lager, and then you come home hungover and you tell her about something that's 101. I guess it was your love for her.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe it was just the fact that I was hungover yesterday, and that could be the case. But it was much closer apparently than what it was meant to be. I was told, but we still got the money in that market. In terms of golf, Rory Mcilroy is back in the winners' enclosure. He was just the winner in the book for us, which was quite surprising actually. I think a lot of people had lost faith with Rory Mcilroy.
Did people has anyone just kept backing him, or have they just done their dough this stage?
To be honest, when Ben Coley puts him up quite a lot, and obviously a very, very, very good tipster, and he's been in the winners' enclosure about 8 times in the last couple of months. So he's been absolutely flying, and he's been putting him up all the time. And he's just been keeping the faith and keeping the face. And I don't think he did keep the faith last week, and that's probably why we didn't see the money. We do
like
see
a lot of tickets, like
yeah.
Oh, God,
yeah, but
I'm a lot of this week.
I'm not feeling sorry for any Ben Coley followers though, because they've been making hay recently. So
where does Ben tip?
What's that, sorry?
Where does he tip?
Sporting Life. So tips out over in Sporting Life. So he's kind of hugely popular in terms of where they follow him. Don't forget, we've also got golf tips as well. We've got Blue Horseshoe that does bits for us, and our golf trader Glenn for the big tournaments will do write-ups as well. So check them out. In terms of this week, we've got the British Masters, which is played at the Belfry. Fantastic course, the Belfry. Bobby Mack, so Robert McIntyre, heads to betting there at 14-1, 18-1 bar. We're paying 6 places at 50 odds. I just want to quickly spin through a couple of offers as well, which we've got at the moment. So we've got a new offer where you can get a tie from Gresham Blake, which is a fantastic...
This is just fantastic. This is absolutely... Ben Keith's written literally all over it.
I mean, Benke loves Gresham Blade. He's all over Gresham Blade. We've got one down here in Brighton in the North Lanes. I've been there before. It's fantastic.
Pickle and pie.
So get a tie for the return of racing is the offer. So to qualify, sign up to us, obviously open an account, and with the promo code TIE, T-I-E, and place 2 bets of £50 or more at odds of even or greater, and then we can sort you out with a tie from Gresham Blake. So that's just something to get started.
Could wear it to the Star Sports Greyhound Derby final.
Exactly. You can wear it on the pitch, Johnny, if you have 2 £50 bets of us.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. But listen, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, again,
not yet, anyway.
Yeah, I apologise for the 24-hour delay, and particularly for the very, very, tenuous reasoning behind it. But it is great to have Flynn back. We're a very popular show. He's a popular man, and hopefully we'll be still popular when we're back next week.
Yeah, look forward to it, mate.